Jack Burden and Governor Willie Stark are driving down Highway 58 to see Willie's father on his farm. Willie declines giving a speech but talks briefly anyway, and the crowd is very appreciative. Jack remembers his first meeting with Willie. Jack was a reporter for the Chronicle, and Willie was the county treasurer of Mason County. Jack remembers Tiny Duffy, then the tax assessor, pressuring him to drink a beer. Willie has dinner at his father's farm and dismisses himself to go for a drive with Sugar Boy and Jack. They are close to Jack's old home. He remembers his neighbors Ann and Adam Stanton, who live nearby. After the drive, they arrive at Judge Irwin's house. Willie speaks insultingly to the judge, and the judge is upset that Jack is working for such a rude man. Willie then orders Jack to find dirt on the judge. Jack remembers when Willie became involved with a building contract for a new school. Willie was Mason County treasurer, but people sided against him because he wanted the contract to go for the lowest bidder. Willie's big break came when a fire escape collapsed at the new school. The collapse caused 3 students to die. One father came to Willie and cried that the deaths were a punishment for not voting for Willie, and Willie became a hero. Sadie Burke, a part of the Harrison campaign, told Willie that he was set up to be a third party to help the Harrison campaign. Willie drank an entire bottle of whiskey to ease his anger and gave a speech saying that he withdraws. Sadie Burke told Jack that Willie wanted to see him. Willie offered Jack a job working for him for $3,600 a year, and Jack accepted. Jack goes back to his old house to see his mom. Jack's mom attempts to get Jack to quit his job because she wants him to settle down. Jack has a flashback to his teenage years when he, Adam, and Ann raced at a coat. Jack learns that all people are truly individuals from this experience.
Turning from his flashback, all hell is breaking loose in Willie's office. Murphy's men are trying to impeach the state auditor, Byron White, who's involved in a scandal. Willie supports him. Willie is then the target of impeachment, but avoids it through blackmailing the legislation. He then proposes a new plan for a free public hospital. During this frenetic time, Jack is reflecting on Willie's sexual behavior. He has a wife, but also has a long-term affair with Sadie Burke, along with other women on the side. Lucy eventually leaves Willie. Jack goes into another flashback of his time as a grad student at the State University, where he was writing his dissertation for a PhD on Cass Master. He gives up writing the paper because he simply doesn't understand Master's actions. Flashes back to present-day 1936, where he's trying to find dirt on Judge Irwin. He visits his father, Ann, and Adam for info, and learns the judge went broke in 1913. Sometime later, Jack goes to one of Tom Stark's football games with Willie. Tommy is the reason his team wins the game, and Willie claims he will be an All-American. Jack returns to investigating Judge Irwin, looking in the old newspapers and documents. He learns that Irwin took a bribe from a power company because he was in financial trouble. Jack now has dirt on Judge Irwin. During this time, Willie is completely focused on building his new $6 million hospital. It will be his legacy. Willie claims that he won't use any illegal methods or blackmail to complete it. Willie wants Adam Stanton to be the new director of the hospital, but Adam hates Stark and is pissed when Jack offers him the job. Adam eventually agrees to take the job after Ann approves, and Willie promises not to interfere. But Jack cannot figure out how Ann learned Adam was offered the job, because Adam, Willie, and even he didn't tell her. Sadie Burke told her and said Ann is Willie's new slut. Jack asks Ann and says it's true. After learning of their affair, Jack flees westward to California, driving there for several days. He tries to understand his past with Ann and what happened with Willie.
We flash back to Jack and Ann's once torrid love affair, Jack at 21, Ann at 17, including a near miss, and Jack getting kicked out of law school. Jack returns, and by a chance encounter on his trip, develops his great Twitch theory of secret knowledge from an old man. Adam wants to resign from his post as head of the hospital in response to a bribe. Ann actually does want to marry Willie, much to Jack's dismay. Twist straight out of Univision, Tom got some girl pregnant and her dad wants them to get married. Willie is not about that and sends Jack to dig up more dirt. It gets even better. Jack kinda mentions the bribe to Irwin, and after a delay, Irwin kills himself. Jack's mom tells him that Irwin was his dad and he is Irwin's sole heir. At this point, Willie is really grumpy, and after agreeing to a deal on the hospital that he doesn't support, he throws a drink in Duffy's face. Tom still isn't doing too well off the field, and he gets knocked out of a game with an injury that eventually leads to paralysis, despite Adam's best efforts. Willie cancels the deal in the hospital, and Adam finds out about Willie and Ann and gets really mad, and then Willie is paged to go down to the Senate. At this point, Adam actually shooting Willie doesn't even seem implausible. Willie holds on for a few days before his death, and Jack attends the giant funeral. Right after shooting Willie, Adam is shot by Sugar Boy. Jack attends Adam's funeral and goes on a little soul searching directly after. Turns out that it was Duffy who told Adam about the affair. Sadie leaves town and Jack finally accepts some responsibility. He finds out that Tom died of pneumonia and Jack and Ann get married. The end.